Here is something that has not happened in a long time. Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, the two highest-ranked golfers on the planet, are paired together for the first two rounds in Memphis, Tennessee, and the analysts covering the sport are not backing either one of them. Patrick McDonald of Columbia Broadcasting System Sports does not believe Rory McIlroy will make any noise. Shane Bacon does not believe Scottie Scheffler will win a single one of the three playoff events. Between them, they have one victory each in 2026. The most striking detail came from inside Rory McIlroy's own team. Brad Faxon is an 8-time winner on the Professional Golfers Association Tour and has coached Rory McIlroy's putting since the 2023 Open Championship. On the Sky Sports Golf podcast, he revealed that Rory McIlroy had not hit a shot since the Open Championship at Royal Birkdale until days before the opening event of the FedEx Cup Playoffs. Until a couple days ago, Rory said he's not hit a shot until he tapped in an 11-inch putt for bogey on the final hole at Birkdale, said Brad Faxon. He added he hadn't hit a shot until a few days ago, which I thought was funny. That sets up three questions. What did Brad Faxon say? Why does Rory McIlroy appear unmoved by the playoffs, and is Scottie Scheffler in any better position? Start with the timeline, because dates matter. Rory McIlroy finished tied for 40th at the Open Championship, 1 under par, after closing with a 1 over par 71. Reporters asked that Sunday whether he would play again before the playoffs. He said no without clarifying his schedule. He skipped all three remaining regular season events and, according to Brad Faxon, barely touched a club until roughly the Saturday before Memphis. What he did instead is documented publicly. The 37-year-old spent time with his wife Erica Stoll and daughter Poppy and holidayed in Ibiza, Spain, and Greece, joined by his caddy Harry Diamond and Ryder Cup teammate Shane Lowry. Footage circulated of Rory McIlroy at the Pacha nightclub in Ibiza on the 29th of July. That break departs from the routine Rory McIlroy has followed for most of his career. Here the story turns. Because Brad Faxon did not raise it as criticism, he raised it as a defense. I don't blame him at all, Brad Faxon said. He pointed to how long Rory McIlroy had chased one goal. He was craving to do this for his first 17 professional years of his life, and now with these back-to-back Masters wins, he's like, I can not only afford financially to do this, but mentally, the fatigue you get. Brad Faxon argued the heaviest burden at this level is not physical. It's not that he's physically tired after playing a round of golf. It's the mental fatigue of always being in the spotlight and never getting a break, he explained. Whether it's from when you walk into the gates or when you go to dinner at night, somebody is always coming up to you. He also said the company Rory McIlroy kept mattered because it let him switch off. I've never seen anyone that is more patient in that situation than Rory, but for him to be able to go out there to the Greek islands with some of his closest friends, the Lowrys and the Diamonds, that's a way to get away from the game, he said. Brad Faxon then argued none of this signals declining ability, referencing a story about Poppy who questioned why her father needed to practice when he already knew how to play. And you remember his daughter's great quote when he said to Poppy he had to go practice, and she goes, "Well, you already know how to play, Daddy," Brad Faxon said. He continued, that was something Rory said when he left us in, that he hasn't forgotten how to play, and I'm sure he hasn't. Brad Faxon added, Rory has a great record in the playoffs, especially at East Lake. So the question is not whether Rory McIlroy can play. It is whether he wants to. He answered that himself in July. Under the current format, there is no staggered start at the Tour Championship. Everyone reaching East Lake Golf Club begins at even par, so standings position carries no scoring advantage. All that is required is a top 30 place. His conclusion was blunt. The PGA Tour is in a lot of flux at the minute with a lot of their schedule and structure and everything like that. I think the change where it doesn't matter where you are in the top 30 going into the Tour Championship, it's like I just need to be in the top 30 going in there to have a chance to win a FedEx Cup. So why would I care about the first two? Rory McIlroy said. He added, I sort of came to that decision last year, and I'm just sort of doing the same thing. Asked whether it was fair to say the FedEx Cup no longer got his competitive juices flowing, Rory McIlroy replied, yeah, that's fair. Asked what caused the shift, he described something that moves in cycles. I think it just sort of ebbs and flows. There's been years where I've given it maybe more of my attention and years that I haven't. Yeah, I guess I'm just at a stage that I have other things that I prioritize. Those priorities sit immediately after the playoffs. Rory McIlroy is committed to the Amgen Irish Open the week after the Tour Championship, his home event, which he has won before. He is also committed to the following week's British Motorworks Professional Golfers Association Championship at Wentworth Club, the European Circuit's flagship event near where he now lives. He has also spoken about returning to India, the Middle East, and Australia. The contrast in tone is measurable. On the playoffs, he agreed they no longer excite him. On Europe, he said, "Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've really enjoyed my stretches of golf in Europe and heading into going back to India again. The Middle East, Australia, really enjoyed that part of the year last year and looking forward to that again for sure." This is the point Patrick McDonald made on the Scorecard podcast, which he co-hosts alongside Shane Bacon and Johnson Wagner. I wouldn't be surprised if he cares more about this stretch on the European Tour after the postseason than the postseason itself, Patrick McDonald said. You have the Irish Open defense, you have the BMW PGA Championship, which he has come really close to. And then, of course, he'll go to India, get a nice appearance fee there, and all that fun stuff. The account posted by Golf on Columbia Broadcasting System on the 9th of August summarized it, plays his best golf when he's motivated by something, and right now it just doesn't seem like there is a carrot dangling out in front of him. The context goes back 12 months. In 2025, Rory McIlroy skipped the FedEx St. Jude Championship completely. He was second in the FedEx Cup standings, and the top 50 advanced automatically, so his place was never in danger. Peter Malnati, a player director on the policy board, was asked about it. "Very concerned," Peter Malnati said. "I think there is stuff in the works, and I'll leave it at that." This year he did show up. The tour announced his commitment on Friday, the 7th of August. Describing him as pursuing a record 4th FedEx Cup title, but arriving without hitting a shot for 3 weeks arguably makes the same point that skipping it made last year. There is a broader layer. The Professional Golfers Association Tour confirmed to the Memphis Commercial Appeal on the 5th of August that this tournament was not being considered for its championship series, which begins in 2028. Talks about Memphis events joining the Challenger Series were described as ongoing. Whether the biggest names treat this week as essential is tied to the event's own future. Now to the numbers. Rory McIlroy has one victory worldwide in 2026, and it was significant. In April, he defended his Masters tournament title, becoming only the 4th player in history to win the green jacket in consecutive years, claiming his 6th major. Since then, his major results have moved one way. He was tied 7th at the Professional Golfers Association Championship, tied 32nd at the United States Open, and tied 40th at the Open Championship. His other notable results are tied 2nd at the Genesis Invitational and tied 7th at the Genesis Scottish Open. He has no top 5 finish since Augusta National. Ian McMillan, a senior editor covering betting, put the cause plainly. Meanwhile, I have a lot of concerns about Rory McIlroy's performance based on his lack of competitive rounds this year, Ian McMillan wrote. He has played in just 3 non-majors since March, and I think that has had a negative effect on him. He hasn't posted a top 5 finish and has posted only 2 top 10 finishes since winning the Masters. Rory McIlroy is 2nd in the official World Golf ranking, but 12th in the FedEx Cup standings, his first time entering the opening leg outside the top 10 since 2021. He will also miss the Tour's 15-event minimum after skipping 3 signature events, though the Tour can reduce that for medical reasons or extraordinary circumstances. Which brings us to Thursday. Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler play together in the marquee group for 2 rounds at Tournament Players Club Southwind, teeing off at 2:30 in the afternoon Irish time on Thursday, then 5:30 on Friday. It is their first grouping at a tour event since the 2025 Tour Championship. They were also paired here in 2022 and 2023 when the field used 3-player groups. The rest of the field carries weight. Cameron Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, and defending FedEx Cup champion Tommy Fleetwood are all here. And 19 of the world's top 20 are competing. Here is the twist. Shane Bacon does not believe Scottie Scheffler will win any of the 3 postseason events, despite him entering as the standings leader and overwhelming favorite. He's probably ready for the year to end, Shane Bacon said. I'm sure there's motivation to maybe pick up one more trophy. But the Scottie Scheffler I've seen out on the golf course over the last few months hasn't looked like the guy excited to play tournament golf. It looks like the guy that's just inevitably waiting for the win to come. And if it doesn't come, he's ready for the week to be over. Shane Bacon expects a top 5 or top 10 finish, not a victory. The summary posted by Golf on Columbia Broadcasting System captured his reasoning. All year we've been saying is going to win the next event, but no cigar. The counter-argument is straightforward. Scottie Scheffler has 17 starts and 1 win at the American Express in January, plus 5 runner-up finishes and 11 top 5 results. He has finished inside the top 25 in every event where he made the weekend, making 16 cuts from 17 starts. He leads the tour in strokes gained total and strokes gained tee to green. Here he was tied 3rd in 2025 and tied 4th in 2024, all 8 rounds in the 60s for a combined 29 under par. The betting market reflects the gap. Scottie Scheffler sits at plus 500, Rory McIlroy at plus 1,200, and Scottie Scheffler is minus 200 to beat Rory McIlroy over 72 holes. The format matters. 69 players are competing rather than 70 because Daniel Berger withdrew through injury. There is no cut. The winner receives 750 FedEx Cup points, and regular season points carry over. The top 50 advance to the British Motorworks Championship at Bellerive Country Club, and the top 30 reach the Tour Championship at Eastlake Golf Club. The venue is a precision test. Tournament Players Club Southwind is a par 70 of 7,288 yards designed by Ron Pritchard in 1988, with Hubert Grain and Fuzzy Zoller as player consultants. Water is in play on 11 holes, the greens are small and the rough runs around 3 inches, conditions suiting Scottie Scheffler's ball striking. 2 grain silos and a windmill remain from the dairy farm that once occupied the site. In 2023, it converted fully to Zeon zoysia grass with fairways recontoured after new drainage. Rory McIlroy's record here is mixed. He has 3 top 5 finishes in 8 starts, including tied 3rd in 2023 and a top 5 in 2019, but missed the cut in 2022 and finished tied 68th in 2024. It is the only active playoff event he has never won. Other storylines run alongside. Justin Rose defends the title he won last year, beating Jonathan Jacob Spawn with an 11-foot birdie on the 3rd playoff hole. Since this tournament joined the playoffs in 2007, nobody has successfully defended it. Hideki Matsuyama arrives on 31 consecutive cuts made, with recent finishes of tied 3rd, tied 5th, and tied 7th. The bubble is tight. Maverick McNeely holds 50th, 27 points ahead of Harris English, while Keith Mitchell sits 49th, 5 points ahead of Maverick McNeely. Max Homa is 52nd, Sungjae Im 53rd, and Jordan Spieth 54th. Shane Lowry begins 62nd, paired with Max Homa, teeing off at 4:30 in the afternoon Irish time on Thursday and 1:20 on Friday. Michael Brennan reached the playoffs by winning the Wyndham Championship from 105th, and Jackson Coyven held the final place after matching Tiger Woods' record of 5 starts to qualify. So this is not declining ability. It is reallocation. Rory McIlroy has stated publicly that majors and the European stretch are what he is playing for, and that the first 2 playoff events carry no weight under the current structure. The counterpoint is that rust is measurable, and 3 top 5 finishes in 8 visits to a course that punishes imprecision is not a safety net. The unknown makes this week worth watching. Rory McIlroy has 30 Professional Golfers Association Tour victories and is the only 3-time FedEx Cup champion, winning in 2016, 2019, and 2022, and Brad Faxon singled out Eastlake Golf Club as a venue where his record stands out. Technically, he only needs to survive 2 weeks and reach the top 30. So the question is this: is Rory McIlroy correct that the first 2 playoff events do not matter, or is the format of the Professional Golfers Association Tour the real problem? Leave your answer in the comments and tell me whether you believe he can extend that record to a fourth FedEx Cup title from 12th place.